Good evening, and thank you for joining me to learn a little bit more about Google Gems. My name is Karen Leonard, and I am the Program Director of the Office of AI and Digital Learning. I love to collaborate with you, so if you've got questions, need someone just to chat about with AI, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'm here to help you. So I want you to think a Google Gem is like a gem. Consider they're rare, they're priceless, and we can create our own classroom assistants by using a tool called Google Gems. So by the end of this session, you'll understand what a Google Gem is, and you'll identify ways that can support you and your students. But before I really jump into this and explain what a gem is, I wanted to share a video that kind of explains Google Gems maybe a little better than I could. So let's see what a Google Gem
All right,
is.
so if you're an educator, you already know that AI tools like Google Gemini can be incredibly powerful. But let's be real, they can also be kind of frustrating, right? You ask for something specific for your classroom, and you get a generic one-size-fits-all answer. Well, today, we're going to blow past those basic prompts and unlock a feature that honestly changes the entire game, building your very own custom AI assistants. Just imagine for a second having a whole team of AI assistants ready to go, each one built and trained just for your classroom. I'm talking one for lesson planning, maybe another one just for differentiating instruction, or even one that handles all your parent emails. It sounds a little like science fiction, doesn't it? Well, it's not. This is all about creating your own specialized AI team. So let's talk about the core problem, the thing we all run into. Every single time you open up a general AI chat, you have to start completely from scratch. You're typing, act like a fifth grade science teacher, make the tone encouraging, please format this as a table. You have to repeat the same context over and over and over again. And that, my friends, leads to some serious prompt fatigue. But what if? What if you could set all those rules just one time? What if you could give the AI its job description, tell it its purpose, who its audience is, and it would just remember that forever, every single time you logged in? Now, that is the key idea we're digging into today. The solution to all this is a really powerful feature inside Google's AI, and they're called gems. Now, this isn't just another chatbot. It's a way for you to build your own personal AI specialists, each one tailored to do exactly what you need them to do. So, what exactly is a gem? Well, the easiest way to think about it is as a saved persona. It's a custom version of the AI that already has its standing orders the moment you turn it on. You give it a personality and a purpose one time, and it never, ever forgets. And I absolutely love this analogy. It's perfect. Think about it. The standard Gemini AI is like a massive, sprawling public library. It has information on everything, but you've got to go find it. A Gemma, on the other hand, that's your dedicated subject matter specialist at the front desk who already knows you teach eighth grade history and takes you right to the perfect bookshelf. And you can imagine having that specialist on call is a massive time saver. By getting rid of all that repetitive setup, by cutting out that prompt fatigue, we're talking about saving 5, maybe even 10 minutes on every single task you do. And if you're a busy teacher, you know just how quickly that time adds up. Okay, so you're probably thinking, this sounds great, but is it complicated to build one? And the answer is no. It's not about complex coding or anything like that. It's all about a simple but really powerful framework, kind of like the secret sauce for giving your AI the right instructions. The framework is called PTCF, and it's just 4 simple steps. First step is P, for persona. Who do you want the AI to be? An expert instructional coach, a fun science communicator? Then T, for task. What is its main job? C is for context. Who's the audience? Your students, parents? And finally, F is for format. How should it give you the information? In a table, a list, an email? Simple as that. When you really boil it down, using that PTCF framework is like writing a permanent job description for your AI assistant. You are literally hiring it for a specific role in your classroom, and these are its duties for every single shift, forever. Okay, enough with the theory.
Okay, so hopefully that provides you with a little bit of an understanding of what a Google Gem is. So now let's really look at what we can do with a Google Gem. I love this. There's a blogger that I follow extensively. His name is Eric Kurtz from Ohio. He has a Control Alt Achieve blog. And I'm going to share some samples of Google Gems he's already created. But I loved this one because it's an AI plus SAMR activity. And if you're familiar with education technology at all, we talk about some of the different layers of technology integration in a classroom. It can start at the lowest level where it's used as substitution, maybe for pen or pencil, then maybe augmentation, and then we go to modification and redefinition. So I was able to use this gem to create a guide for using AI with marine biology and oceanography. So basically at the substitution level, it says I, as the teacher, could use AI to generate a list of 10 unique marine animals and their specific adaptations to display on a board. Let's skip down to the definition. The class co-creates a new ecosystem. The AI agent acts as an evolution simulator predicting how animals might evolve over the next million of years in order to survive there. Okay, we talk a lot about adaptation and but trying to really make that engaging with students, this is a great way that we can incorporate education technology, AI, and tie it into core content information. So exactly how did I get from there to there? Let's see. So as that video told you, we're thinking of a Google Gem kind of as a saved persona. You don't have to provide it with all of that information. It's always there, designed to do that one tool for you. And it can be a dedicated subject matter specialist. So let me show you what Google has already created for you to kind of entice you and let you see maybe this is an easy way to step into a Google Gem. They have already created brainstormers, a writer editor, a learning coach, and I'm going to go right here. And in fact, I've already pulled some of this up. This is what the basic layout of your screen looks like when you're creating your Google Gem. And like I said, we're not going to create one yet. We're just going to look at what's already been created. And someone asked me yesterday, do you have to have a paid account in order to use Google Gems? And the answer is no. I am creating everything I'm doing with a free Google account. So that should alleviate some fears. Over here on the left-hand side, I see my normal Google Gemini chat, but I'm going to go down and I see gems, and I'm going to click on this arrow, and it's going to show me some that have already been pre-created. These are some that they've created, but down here, they have some that are currently in session and in use, and they have some that are experimental. I'm going to show you first the learning coach. And what I like about this is something maybe you share with parents to help them guide their students through some of the learning processes and fix some of those gaps of learning. Maybe if you have older students, you're actually sharing this. And I do know that Google Gems are now tied into Canvas. So if you're a Canvas school, you can use that. You can also tie these into Google Classroom so they're not like going out anywhere just to respond. So here I'm going to ask, I like this. These are pre-created ones. I'm going to use one that I've done before. I want someone to explain the water cycle to me. So the learning coach goes through and it provides me some background information. It generated the image for me. And it's breaking my learning plan down into chunks. And again, step one, and look, it's providing me with the information, but it is like not answering a question. It's probing questions to get the learner to dig down deeper into the content. and kind of personalize their own learning journey. So the Learning Coach is a great place to start. I also really enjoyed the storybook. I want you to see what I can do and the amount of time it takes for me. Maybe I am going to, I'm just going to use one of their pre-made prompts, and it is going to create a storybook for my brother who's just moved out of my parents' house and has to learn to be an adult now that he's in college. Think this is a pre-created prompt, but I could write my own prompt. So we're thinking social stories are a great place for us to start with. The imagery and everything is engaging. While this is creating my storybook right now, I'm going to go back to one I created yesterday, and this was telling the story of a bee and its role in our ecosystem. Look at the creativity in the images, and here, love this. This is something that I could share with as a whole class. I can download it, look, easy to share as a whole class. But here's another wonderful setting.
Maya was playing near the daisies when she heard a loud zit. She froze and pulled her shoulders up to her ears. To Maya, that sound meant, watch out. She stayed very still.
So I can have it reach me, and look, I can use a higher pitched voice or a lower pitched voice. It does not have the ability to translate into other languages yet, but I'm sure Google is so good at creating that translation adaptation in most of its tools that I'm sure that that's coming back. I'm going to go back and see if it has created our other book yet. I'm going to go here to gems, and it is down here. Where's my storybook? Oh, Key to the Studio was the one that just created by me. Look, it's got my name, and here we go through. We've got this boy going off to college. Not appropriate probably for K-12, but think of maybe a student going to kindergarten for the first time. Great, easy way for us to share, create and share. And I can share this by getting a link and copying it into something else. And like I said, Canvas already has the ability for gems to be created within it. So if you're a Canvas school, this would be very easy for you to push out. I'm going back to look at some of the other pre-created gems. Oh, look, a claymation explainer. We'll turn anything into a claymation experiment. And look, you can see here are gems that I've created in the past. They're also showing over here under my previous chats, but maybe I want to keep something right there at the top so it's easy to find. So I can go here to the three dots and click pen. It asks me a name, and now I have that pinned right there. And so far, I've done very little. I've used a pre-created gem that has been already prompted to create something, and I just provided the information. And that's what we can do with our learners if they're not able to create their own. But I'm going to go in and I'm going to create, well, let me show you some things that can be created. I mentioned Eric Kurtz before. He is a master of creation. Look at all of these Google Gems he has already created. And all I have to do is, if I find one that I like, I can click on it, and he's so sharing. Look, I can use the gem myself to experience it as a learner. And let's see what that would look like. An ACT reading generator, and I would please create a short paragraph that could be used for ACT prep. And, I'm guiding it. Notice I don't have to tell it my role and everything. So look, here I'm your ACT reading curriculum and integration specialist. And what skill and topic should I start with first? Then I can take the output and share that with my learners. Okay, I thought that was great. But again, all of these, I can make my own copy of his gem. So this is the backside of everything that he has created to make that gem. And I can change that. Maybe I'm going to say Karen's ACT reading generator. I can change the instructions so that they fit my specific role. And then I can save it. And that's going to end up over here in my gem list. Okay, so what if I don't find a pre-created one that I like? How do I go about creating one of my own? So I'm going to go back to my slide deck just a little and provide you some of that background. There's the actual link to the original storybook I created. There is the link to Eric Kurtz's gem collection. And making our own. This kind of gives us just a background image. I'm really into using Google Notebook Ellen right now. The video that the start of the session was created by that. I love the ability to create some infographics. So I'm finding the tool. I did encounter a couple bumps when I was trying to create my own Google Gem. Google Gem is the actual tool. They do have another version that's called Opal. I don't find Opal as easy to use right now. So if you encounter something that says you're accessing Opal, just, all I did was I Googled Google Gems and I'm going to click on New Gem. So I found the tool. And then here's my home screen. So it's asking for me to give my gem a name. I'm going to give a description of what the gem does, and I'm going to provide instructions. So here I have information, and I am going to say, first of all, when we write prompts, we know that the more specific our prompt, the better the outcome is. And especially when you're not using the paid version, we have to be able to tell it each time who I am, what my role is, what my desired outcome is. So I found this framework called the PTCF framework. So when I'm creating a gem, I want to give it a persona. That's the persona of the gem. You are an expert differentiation instruction specialist. I'm going to tell it the task. I want you to help rewrite complex articles for different Lexile levels. I'm going to provide it the context. Who is going to be the user of this gem? And what is the format? Do I want it in a table? Do I want it in an email? So I am actually going to go and copy and paste what I have here. So here's my name of my new gem. I'm going to create a new gem. I'm going to give it a name, a science experiment generator. And the description is optional, but I wanted to create school-safe science experiments for students. Then I do have to give it instructions. I'm giving it the persona, the task, the users. Now I may be happy and I could hit generate or submit and it will give me a great gem. But maybe I'm concerned that I'm missing something. And I want you to pay special attention to the alignment to the Oklahoma Academic Standards for Science. We're going to come back to that. But if you notice this magic pencil down here, this actually is using Google Gemini to recreate my instructions, maybe so that they're provided with better context, more details. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And it is revising my instructions right there. Look, it's given it purpose and goals. It's given it behaviors and rules, experiment generation, and engagement safety and the tone. So I'm going to go ahead here and create my gem just with the click of a finger. So it is creating something. It is created. And so now I need to press save so I can use it and experiment. We are now switching from the background behind the scenes Now we're going to see what the user of the gem would see. Okay, so I need an experiment for 5th grade related to the water cycle. And let's see, it's thinking. It's got to process all of those requirements that were told in the instructions. And look, we're going to align this activity to the Oklahoma Academic Standards for Science, and it gave me the exact standard. Now, with any AI tool, we always have to go back in and ensure that that is real. But so here we go. It's giving me a possible experiment that I can do. It's giving me everything safety first. Would you like to predict what would happen? And I could, again, share that. Look, I could have it think faster. I could have it use the microphone. So maybe I am the user telling it what to do instead of typing. And that's the output. So let's think a little more deeply. I think I would start simple, maybe use something created by someone else or by Google, maybe make a copy, modify it to meet your specific needs. And like I said, some tips in the instruction box. There's the magic pencil that can help you improve and refine your instructions. And like I said, the Opal version is not quite as user-friendly, but I can add assets, which I'm going to show you how to do with the regular. But if I'm wandering in here, I'm going to find the advanced editor. That's only for the Opal version. I did include a PTCF framework because you could just copy and download that. Sometimes I know that I work best by using examples to begin with, and I want to make sure that you're including all of the necessary information, that secret sauce, to create a reliable, usable gem. So your persona, your task, your content, and your format. You can also give your gem knowledge. So before, I just taught it to use the Oklahoma Academic Standards for Science, but I can actually upload a PDF of just my Oklahoma Academic Standards for Science, and it will only pull from that information. Okay, so hallucinations are completely eliminated in terms of that because we're providing it with the actual information. So you could upload your syllabus, a specific textbook chapter, your district's grading rubric, and it won't give you just generic advice. It will give you advice specifically for your content area. So, you know, you can upload chapters of books. We can also, like I said, upload your syllabus. Maybe you're sharing this with parents and they've got questions about the syllabus. Maybe they can interact with that Google Gem that will just provide the feedback. What does this teacher mean when she's talking about this? We can use lesson plans to ground your AI. Rubrics, we can include handbooks. Someone asked yesterday if they could use their technology handbook for the district and share this with parents so that parents can interact with the Google Gem to receive instant questions. I do think that I would completely refine that Google Gem, test it before sharing that with those outside of my classroom or my school, just to ensure that, again, it's valid and reliable and easy to use. Here is where beneath the instruction button, there's a knowledge section, and I can click on that plus sign and it will allow me to add, let's see, I'm going to go back here to create a new gem to show you that a new gem I need to create. If I were back in here and I'm trying to find an easy way to access this. You know, it's a whole lot easier when you're starting from scratch, but when you're going in and looking at the background, you can upload documents. I think you can upload PDFs, Google Docs. You can link it to a YouTube video. And that's pretty amazing to be able to provide it with that content that you want it to interact with. Again, you can test and share your gem. I can share it via that link that it provides. Maybe I share it with it embedded in a website such as what Eric Kurtz does. I can put it in Canvas. I can put it in Google Classroom. So what I like to do is you have a lot on your plate already. I like to provide you with some ideas. Beyond everything that Eric Kurtz created, here are some ways that I see you could create your own Google Gems. Sometimes it's really challenging to find that engagement aspect when you're teaching a new concept. So maybe we create a lesson hook generator and you're providing it with all of these instructions. Maybe you want it to create a provocative question, a mystery object or scenario, real world connection, quick simulation. And all I have to do is input my grade level in my content area and bam, it's going to give me options. And the great thing is if I don't like what it gives me originally, I can just regenerate the answer. Here's another one. Maybe I want to use Socratic seminars with my students. I can give it a text and ask it to generate 5 open-end higher level discussion questions that I can use with my students. Or an email diplomat. I think that this is a pre-created Google one. I love the fact that I can create empathetic responses to maybe difficult parent emails. You're going to generate the original information of the email, but we just want to make sure that what we're saying is showing empathy and that there maybe is no misinterpretation of what you're trying to say in an email. An IEP assistant is good. We can put some of that in there and it can, based upon maybe past IEPs written by your school, help generate one more easily. We do want to always remember that when we're using any student information, we never want to use any personally identifiable information. Here's another one. We can use a Google Gem to create tier 2 and tier 3 MTSS interventions. So you're going to input your regular activity and ask it to automatically generate 2 and 3 for that. We've talked about sharing, generating a link. If you share your Google Gem with others, it is wonderful because they do not see your previous chats. All that they see is the name of the gem, a description, and the instructions that you created. Data protection. Many of you are probably using a Google Workspace for education, and Google says that if you're in that umbrella, they will not use any of the data shared to train the AI tools. The thing is, we never want to take a chance. So any personally identifiable information, student names, addresses, anything, even if you're working in a Google space, we want to just be so used to extracting that information and putting something generic in, because maybe someday you're starting to use other tools and you just become so used to sharing information, it's hard to switch back. I never want to see anything that could be identifiable used in this. We also always need to use a human in the loop to make sure that we're reviewing the Google output, and it's always a co-pilot, but not a captain. There are many other webinars that are coming up. I do have an AI is Not Magic, How AI Works, and this is actually a computer scientist coming to share in an easy to understand way how AI works. I also have creating graphic novels with Notebook LM. So I'm also doing a book study. It's not too late, although we've already had our first meeting. The book AI for Educators by Matt Miller is a super easy, quick read. 2 chapters a month. If you can't attend every session, that's okay. We've had some great discussions so far. And then I have a list of all the links of things that may be pertinent related to AI in education. So I would like to thank you for taking the time to attend the session and or watch this video later. And please always remember to reach out to me if you have any questions. Have a good day.